We are moving into a new age. I had recently watched a video, actually last night, and it talked about how modern society has basically been changing every 80 years. We go through this big change. So the last change was just after World War II. New technologies. We think about, basically Europe is rebuilding itself, but the United States goes hardcore with roads and more rail, and it really changed the economy of the world. And you go back another 80 years. This was right after the U.S. Civil War, and again, things changed. Like, it was a change in economic systems. It was the end of slavery as the primary economic system. And then we go back another 80 years in the U.S. This was marked by the War of Independence. Again, it was that change in economics and the change in how the U.S. wanted to do things. It was right after that they started shooting, railroads right into Indian country and expanded the country, right? They wanted that ability to just go full bore. And that's what happened by them breaking away from the British Empire at that point. But we look at right now, it's now been 80 years since the end of World War II, when the world changed. Now, what's going on in the world right now? AI, solar tech, and what's the other thing? I can't think of it right now. Anyway, so we're thinking of AI. AI is here to stay. If you're some denier and you don't want to use it, you're gonna get left behind. That's the truth. With AI, you can integrate it into any business, even if you're just asking it, hey, how should I market my business? Right? Like, it could be just simple questions like that. You need to be embracing it. But there could be other ways AI is integrated into your business. But you don't know until you ask AI and find out and start learning, right? AI is the culmination of our computer technology, right? After World War II, World War II was the start of the computer age, because Alan Turing in Great Britain created his Turing machine to crack the Enigma code, right? That the Germans were using, the Enigma machine. And that was a computer, right? It was a bunch of physical dials and things like that, but it was a computer. It was the start of the computer age. And now all that stuff, big computers, mainframes, aka dinosaurs, workstations, home computers, laptops, cell phones, massive data centers, the cloud, right? The speed of the technology doubling every 18 months. Was that Moore's Law? I think it's called. All this is leading up to AI. We now have AI that has become extremely useful, and it's only going to get better. And if you're not embracing AI over the next 25 years, you're missing out, right? 2025 to 2050, AI is going to reign supreme. It is the culmination of all our computer technology, right? We're there. This is a turning point. We're so advanced now, the wonders are going to start, essentially. That's what I'm going to say. We can't predict exactly what it's going to be, but we have that significant power now, that computing power. So that's AI. Well, what's the second thing? I said solar tech. So solar is 100% technology. Once you build the solar panel, it no longer needs any input except the sun, right? Whereas when we built a combustion engine, we always had to put our fuel. That's why we go purchase our gas every day for our car, right? Or weekly for our car, right? It needed that commodity, that oil, that gasoline. It needed the commodity to keep it going. So it was commodity dependent technology. Solar, once it's built, it's no longer dependent on the commodity. Yes, you have to build it first, and it takes commodities and resources to build it. But once it's operational, it just goes till its end of life, right? Like 50 years or something like that. So it's not dependent on a commodity. When we think about coal, we started off with coal fireplaces to heat our home, replacing the wood fireplaces that we had in our homes, right? They were all dependent, wood, coal. So when we have our big power plants, our big coal power plants, we still need to put something into it, the coal, or even we've switched from coal here in Alberta to the natural gas fired power plants. It still needs natural gas, right? It's still dependent on that commodity, that natural resource, for the continued life of it. Solar does not need that. You do the initial build, so it's like I'm building my combustion engine, the same as building your solar panels. But the solar panels, they don't need any additional input other than the sun, right? It is truly a technology. And getting power from a technology. See, it's a different mindset, right? It is a change in the economy. It is a change in how our society will power itself in the future. We are coming up on the end of the fossil fuel age. This is it. Solar power has become extremely cheap. It is now cheaper than most other ways to make power. And it doesn't need constant inputs. Think about, you automate a process for your business. It now runs, and you don't need an employee there all the time, right? There's no input needed. It just runs. You just got to check on it now and again, but there isn't a 24/7 human needed to run that piece of technology. It's going on its own, right? So we're at this tipping point. Yes, the fossil fuel age is on the way out. It's still going to take 25 plus years for fossil fuels to be totally gone, right? It's not going to happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight. So if you're thinking, oh no, I'm going to lose my job, because I work in the oil industry or in some industry reliant directly or indirectly on the fossil fuel industry, I wouldn't worry about it as much. If you are 20, 25, and you're just going into this industry, something to consider. Something to say, okay, I'm making money right now in the oil and gas industry, the petroleum industry, but within my career, it could go away. You're still going to get lots of years working in that industry because it's going to take a long time. But by the time you are hitting retirement age, if you're still in that industry, moving forward, there isn't going to be that industry anymore. So what do you do? I mean, if you're my age, you're approaching 50 and you work in the petroleum industry, you don't have to worry as much. You're going to work for another 10, 15 years. You're probably going to be mostly okay. There's a chance your section of the industry could disappear, but it's not going to happen overnight. And especially the young person in the industry now you're thinking, how can I make sure my career doesn't stagnate after 10, 15 years when the industry starts going down, right? Time to think about it. But nothing is going to happen overnight. There's no reason to get in a panic and freak out, right? So, yeah. So how we make energy, we're at a tipping point. It is going to move from fossil fuels to the clean energy, solar. AI is the culmination of all our computer industry. We are there. This is the tipping point, the changing point, the next chapter in our computing age. And we really need solar to power this new age. We if we don't switch over from the petroleum industry for our energy, our power creation, we're going to kill the planet, because the amount of power we need to fuel AI is just not feasible with this old technology, right? It's time for it to go, because we need to create more power than a gas-powered steam engine is going to do, right? Like it's we're beyond that now. Our power needs are just extreme now, because we all know AI needs a lot of power. It needs cooling. If we can get more power, then hopefully we wouldn't need to use up as much water, right? Like it really is power intensive, and we need to make sure we have a different source of power than this old technology we use. The video is called "Why the Next 25 Years Could Surpass Anything in Modern Memory." The guy's name is Peter Linden, and basically he's saying old systems of the past are collapsing and new systems of the future are still to be born. I call this moment the Great Progression. So, and that's the three tipping points: artificial intelligence, clean energy technologies, and biotechnology. We are at the point where AI was implemented in analyzing our biotech, and we're able to, like finish that biological research into our species and what biology really is. Like we are really at this interesting tipping point. Like he calls it the great progression. So imagine we know enough about our biology to cure cancer, cure heart disease, anything that ails us, we could be fixing it, preventing it better because we understand ourselves better. And this is a really big reason for that is AI and the advancement in our tech industry, right? So this tipping point you should keep in the back of your mind moving forward, right?